Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. My name is Pat Baer, and I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. And when I say model kit, I actually mean Lego set. It's been a while since I built Lego, but yeah, I'm working on a Lego set, and I'm going to hang out with all of you. That's true. The second part is accurate. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, reply with those emotes. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can say hi. You can use other people's emotes. You could be a lurker if you don't want to talk. Or if you normally chat, and tonight you're just not feeling it, that's also okay. Harold is here. Harold chimed in before the stream even started. Lashberg is here. Ghost Valve is here. Nathan is here. Welcome, everybody. Happy to have you here on the old Build with Baer workshop. I appreciate you being here. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. I'm going to work on a Lego set and not be unhappy with the model kit. That sounds fantastic. If you were here for the last week and change of streams, you may remember the Zeta 3 real grade Caraba version, which looked gorgeous and was a pain in the ass to build. And then in attempting to transform it properly, I broke 3 parts of the leg that are not repairable. I could probably get replacement parts, but I choose not to. I will put no more thought or effort into that kit. It looked really good. Perhaps I shouldn't have tried to transform it. I should have just left it as it was. But whatever. I don't really care. At this point, it's in the past. And in the future is the 1970 Ferrari 512M, aka the Lego kit we're going to be building tonight. Very excited to work on that, to hang out with all of you, talk about some wrestling and some video games and some anime. I'm going to say this right now, and I will say it at least one more time. I'll say it before we get into the anime section. As many of you know, once I do the pause for the cause and we get into the second hour, I will talk about the anime I've been watching since the previous stream. I will be talking about yesterday's episode of Oshi no Ko. And when I talk about Oshi no Ko, hey, Lord Crashington, welcome. I will be talking about yesterday's episode, which has a content warning. Or trigger warning, or whatever you prefer. We're going to be talking about the contemplation of suicide in an episode of an anime that is based on a manga, which was playing up, that's the wrong term. There was a subplot in a manga, the manga of Oshi no Ko, which dealt with the real life suicide of a professional wrestler turned, she didn't really turn, professional wrestler who was moonlighting as a reality show contestant, who was indeed cyberbullied and did take her own life. That is a real thing that happened. Her wrestling name was Hana. She was really good. And by all accounts, incredibly nice. And it's a shame that we lost her. That real event inspired the mangaka of Oshi no Ko to include some chapters on a manga about a suicide attempt, which has now been animated for the anime version. And we will get into that. And we will talk about the episode, and we will probably talk a bit about the world around it, the ideas around it. A bit. And that's in the second hour. And I wanted to mention that now. I tweeted about it as well. And I will mention it as we get into it. Because I have not said this in a while here on the old Build with Baer. Let's get into the Lego here. We'll chat about this a little bit. We're not going to get too deep into it right now. But I'll just broadly we'll mention it that... here's our Lego. Here's our driver for a Ferrari. We could have hair, or we could have the helmet. We're gonna do safety first and have the helmet. So we'll just put our Lego friend there for our Ferrari, and we'll get building on the kit. I have knolled the first bag here. There's 2 bags in this kit. This kit we should finish, or the set we should finish during Saturday's stream. And I will have a poll out tomorrow for what I work on after this. But yeah, this should not take too long to build. It's 200 and something pieces. This is not going to be a long thing, but it should be pretty refreshing because if I fuck up, it's easy to fix a Lego mistake. But yeah, just to say, so I have not said this phrase in a while. We are here. I practice entertainment, but not escapism, which means that while we are here to have a good time and to be friends and hang out, we don't shy away from topics that are important to us, even if those topics are tough. We can have the hard conversations around here, and I think that's okay to have those hard conversations. My hope is that we can treat such topics with the respect that they deserve, that we are open, all of us, myself included, are open to being wrong and learning from our wrong, and correcting things that we've internalized incorrectly in the past. And there is no point, since I watched the episode yesterday and prepared my notes, there was no point where I said, I wonder if I should breeze through this episode and not talk about it. Maybe I should skip this episode and just be like, hey, some shit happened on that episode, we're not going to talk about it. That never occurred to me, that there might be a reason to not do it, right? There have been shows that I decided, I got to an episode, I was already on the fence about the show, and I said, you know what? I don't want to talk about the show anymore. But that has never been generally due to the content. It's more about the presentation, and by content, in that case, I mean more like, do I think this is worth talking about? In this case, I do think it's worth having a conversation about it, and we can chat about that through the lens of celebrity, through the lens of being an idol. But that's in the 10 o'clock hour when we talk about I got a cheat ability in different worlds and became extraordinary even in the real world, Oshi no Ko, and Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts. In lighter news, I want to tell you about a cool thing, a fun thing. I got some information was presented to me on Tuesday. I tweeted about this, but we'll talk about it here. I am proud to announce that my father is a Hall of Famer in our neighborhood bocce league. If you are unfamiliar with bocce, it's like shuffleboard, but with heavy balls. It's somewhere between shuffleboard and croquet. Shuffleboard, croquet, and I guess horseshoes, like tossing horseshoes, because you're Hall of Fame dad. Indeed, you are tossing a ball you're trying to hit the panini. Not the panini, the panini. Panini? It's not panini, but it is like the word panini. Anyway, you're trying to get close to the goal, which is also a different ball. Yeah, thank you. You're trying to toss this ball, and then, hey, you can knock out other balls from your opposing team, or maybe you'll knock out your teammate's ball, and that would be bad. It is a sport loved by Italian immigrants and others, of course. We definitely played it a bit in Connecticut. I've played it. I have experience with bocce. I have not played in a while. But yeah, when my folks got down here to retire, they're in this area to be retired, retirees, I should say. They joined a bunch of clubs. Like my mom's in a book club. She's in multiple book club stuff. She was in a movie club that they still meet periodically to go see movies. Pandemic kind of killed the buzz on that one. There's some dine out groups. There's the party association for our neighborhood, larger neighborhood, all this other stuff. And one of the things was bocce. They do daytime bocce. There's a night league because they got lights for the bocce court, which is fun. They play several times a year. And my folks are former champions. They have trophies and medals for winning. They have both done very well. And the current organizer apparently decided there should be a Hall of Fame. My dad has a T-shirt with the Bocce Association, and it has his name on it and says Hall of Fame. And he is indeed, as I mentioned, the first entrant into the Hall of Fame. It was basically announced, hey, there's a Hall of Fame, and also our first entrant is Buddy. That is my dad's nickname. That is not his actual name. If you're like, wait, Pat, hold the fuck up. Your dad is Buddy Baer? Yes, he is. How is your dad Buddy Baer, you're asking yourself? Well, funny story. My dad is actually a junior. He has my grandfather's name, which apparently my grandmother was not like loved my grandfather, didn't particularly care for my grandfather's name, and was not thrilled about her firstborn being named, her son being named with that name. And from the days that my father was very young, she referred to him as her little buddy. And it stuck forever. My dad likes the name. At any point in his life, he could have just stopped being called Buddy. Now, is he called other things? Yes. A few people will use his real name. Very rarely. It's a good way to know if someone is calling, trying to scam him or something. Or it's a government employee of some kind, if they use his legal name. A lot of people call him Bud instead of Buddy. So he's often referred to as Bud. And that's about. There were guys at the bar that my dad used to frequent when I was young that started using the nickname Bud Rock, and I don't know why, and I've never been able to find out. But for a while there were multiple people in my life that referred to my dad as Bud Rock. Fun fact about your friend Pat, right here, that's me. There was a discussion about what to name me before we came to Patrick, which is my full name. If you didn't know, I am Pat Baer, but my legal name is Patrick. There was a discussion. There was never a discussion that I would take my dad's real name, his legal name. That was never up for discussion, apparently. But there was talk about maybe honoring my grandmother's maiden name, because that family was the family that we were one of the families we were very close to. And my uncle had the family business, the house painting business my dad took over for. Various family members worked for my dad in that company. And so there was some discussion of me honoring them by having my first name be their last name, or a version of it. So there was discussion, apparently, about me being William Baer. And eventually it was decided that I would just be called Willie Baer or Billy Baer. I wouldn't be like Bill Baer or Will Baer. Even Bill Baer doesn't sound great. That I would be, those nicknames did not sound appealing to the family. So eventually it was decided to go with a good Irish name, despite I don't have a lot of Irish in me. It's mostly German. Baer is a German last name, by the way. But both of my sides of my family enjoy their Irish heritage. And so it was decided that I would go with Patrick, which is also a reminder, an English name, not an Irish name. I'd be Padraig if I was Irish, because it's Paddy, not Patty. It's D's, Padraig. I'd be Padraig, but I'm not. I'm Patrick Baer. And I'm glad I'm not Billy Baer. Now you're asking yourself, Pat, were you ever Patty Baer? Or like Paddington Bear? Or anything like that? No. Generally, I did not have. I was Care Bear for a brief moment. There were a couple people who were deciding that they were going to call me Care Bear. But one thing about your friend Pat is that he is very vocal if he is unhappy with things. And I made it very well known that I was not going to respond to that. Now, obviously, if this has been a bully situation, I know not to say anything at all. But this was not a bully situation. This was a friends trying to be cute. And I made the decision that I was not going to let them be cute about my name. When I was in high school, I was Pat. There were a couple. There. This is a thing. This is a. As far as I can tell, this is a universal truth that there's in my life, in my experience, me, your friend Pat's experience, there is always one friend of mine who is female who decides that they should call me Patrick. It is very weird that in every friend group I have ever had, there has been one girl who decided she was going to call me Patrick, and I don't know why. That's just how it is. But it was in high school because I was Pat or Patrick. I was working a job, and there were some wait staff there. They're all waitresses, right? They got paid nothing. They were teens like I was because nobody tipped at this place. But they got paid a wage where you would be expecting to make up for it in tips, but they didn't get tips. It sucks. They were teens. They couldn't argue it, or they didn't know they should argue it. Sucks. Anyway, that's besides the point. That's not actually part of the story. So I'm working this job, and the twins that are working there, who I know, they're younger than me, but I knew them from school. One of them goes, I don't know. If my first and last name were like that, I'd go by Pat Baer instead of Pat. I would just always be Pat Baer because it's very fun to say. And I was like, okay, sure. And so they started calling me Pat Baer. And then the other waitresses were like, oh, that's Pat Baer. And then new people would come to the job, people that worked in my area, which was like helping people park. And then we did a lot of bussing of tables and cleaning and setting up the venue and all that. When new people came in, I would often get introduced as Pat Baer. And then like my boss's sons, who were like my direct bosses, would call me Pat Baer. And it just became my name at work. And then I worked with enough people that I saw at school. And then other people started calling me Pat Baer. And I never introduced myself as that. But that became the thing. And it was weird and fine. And then around that time, I switched my AOL Instant Messenger name to Pat Baer from whatever I was using before because I was getting ready to go to college. I had a bunch of other names, mostly names that I used in role-playing games on AOL. And I switched to Pat Baer because I was getting ready for college and decided that if I'm going to give out my instant messenger name to people, I should use a name that people would like. I should like. I did not think of it as my brand, but it was just going to be easier if I was like, oh, I'm on Instant Messenger as Pat Baer. You can find me there. I wouldn't have rhymed, but it's like, oh, yeah, I'm there. And that would be a lot easier because I did have a phone number at school, but I was already tired. I didn't have an answering machine. And this was pre-cell phone. Or cell phones existed, but they weren't as popular when I went to high school or college. They were not super popular with people. By the time I moved to New York, I had a cell phone, but then I didn't. And I didn't want to give out my phone number to just whoever. So you gave out your email a lot or your instant messenger name if you wanted to chat with people later. And basically, I never looked back. Just went with it. Just kind of went for it. Jess says, had to come in. This set looks so cool. Well, welcome, Jess. Yes, this Lego set does look very cool. You can see the photo there. Here. Yeah, over that. There. Yeah, there it is. It does look very cool. I'm super jazzed to work on this. Also, as I said, folks, my last build here, which we finished up on Monday, was incredibly frustrating to put together, and this has not been frustrating at all. We're going to apply our first decal or decal, if you're Canadian. We're going to apply our first decal here, which is number 13, which is our dials here, checking our speed and whatnot. Nice thing about decals, you can always fix your mistake. Also, very happy to announce that, or to remind you that Lego, you can fix your mistakes. Beauty of Lego is if I missed a piece here or there, missed a step somewhere, use my brick separator here, the lovely brick separator, pop off some pieces, put on what I need, no problem at all. If an instruction is a little wonky, a little weird, no sweat. Fix that right up. No problem. Easy peasy. Get it done. Well, I will say that I know this is a race car, and the steering wheel is probably not accurate, but I don't expect this to be super accurate, but this does feel like all of your gauges, your dials, your gauges are very far away. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's just zoom in a little bit. It feels like the steering wheel is here and the gauges are down there, and that seems bad. But yeah, the Lego Speed Champions line, you get some futuristic cars, and you also get some just really nice looking classic cars like the 70s, 1970 Ferrari, the 512M. Zorbs, hey Zorbs, happy to have you here. Zorbs saying totally picking up this setup. It looks so good. Yeah, totally does. I really love the photos I saw of it, and I'm also again happy to have just kind of a straightforward build. I know that a large portion of my audience is very pleased to see model kits, particularly model kits that maybe like are premium Bandai kits or old weird kits that I pick up, that kind of stuff. Totally understand that. But every once in a while, I like doing Lego because it's easy. It's nice to do an easy thing like a Lego set. Just makes my life a lot easier to do it once again. Let's see. We got some news to talk about here. We've got some. Let's do some gaming news. Sorb says they used to make the cars 6 blocks wide. These newer ones are 8 wide, and the cars look so much better for it. I agree that the last like 5 years or so of Lego cars, maybe even 10 years, but a remarkable, I would say, improvement in their feel. Totally. All right, so we need 2 of these. Let's talk about some video game news. Lord Crashing says getting instructions for anybody to be able to put them together makes a big difference from the way Gunpla instructions look like. Yeah, Gunpla instructions for period there where where it has not been released in the United States and there's no English language options there does make things often kind of difficult, which is fine, but it can be frustrating. And then also sometimes even if the instructions are in English, there can be an issue in understanding. Whereas Lego goes out of its way. Like rarely you see any text at all. Sometimes you'll see snap. It'll say the word snap because there's a certain kind of thing you need to snap together. But that's about it. I believe that's the only modifier I can see or instruction I can see other than just, get your pieces and put them there. And sometimes there's arrows. Occasionally there are arrows. That's helpful. So there is going to be a power wash simulator summer pack coming. It'll be paid DLC. The Bikini Bottoms summer pack, SpongeBob summer pack. It is going to be $8 when it comes out. No date yet, but there was information. There's a teaser for it. I do plan on picking that up. I have gotten hours and hours of enjoyment from Power Wash Simulator for its entry price. I got it in early access and have enjoyed it quite a bit into full release. Got 2 packs plus a bunch of extra stuff came out, and this is a paid. Am I big on SpongeBob? Not really. I do like SpongeBob, but I'm not like big on SpongeBob. But I do know like Conch Street, Bikini Bottom Bus, Krusty Krab, the Paddy Wagon, the Invisible Boatmobile, and I want to know how that works. How does that work? And the Mermalair. And I am aware of most of these things. 6 new maps, and there will be new achievements. And I don't have a lot of achievements in Power Wash Simulator. You may be surprised to know, but because I'm not an achievement hunter. Harold says, "Good night. I'll catch you later." Good night, Harold. Thanks for coming. As always, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. And Aristofan says, "Some games are worth spending more money on." Also, hi, Pat. Yes. So, like, I'm totally fine with them charging for DLC. Also, they had 2 packs that were free because they were subsidized by Square Enix. But we had a bunch of stuff that came out that was just not part of the base price. That was just like, hey, here's these cool new things. So this is like totally cool with me to pay a little bit of money. Does $8 feel a little steep for 6 maps? Maybe, but it's like you're paying the premium, right? Because it's not just, hey, here's a bundle of 6 maps with a theme. It's SpongeBob stuff. We worked with the licensing department for something. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Zorb says, played Power Wash through Game Pass until we fell in love with it. It's so satisfying. It totally is. I bought it in early access. I never regretted picking that up in early access. I think it has been a lovely time. And I'm going to be picking this up. No problem. Let's see. Other gaming news. We'll go with the fun one before we get into the bummer news. There is a game that is coming to Steam and Game Pass. They're telling you right away it's going to be on Game Pass, but also you can buy it on Steam. That I have wishlisted on Steam, and I think you should maybe do the same. It is called Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer. It is Slayer X : Terminal Aftermath : Vengeance of the Slayer. It is a self-aware, like, Doom clone. It's not a Doom clone, it's a Duke Nukem clone. It's like a Duke Nukem 3D clone. Metal ass title, right? It is a self-aware joke game that apparently people are saying like, oh well, it's like the premise of what if a convenience store owner, like a manager at a convenience store that love those kind of games, spent 25 years making a hardcore FPS in that style, and it's like it's twisted. It's a twisted retro game, but it's not going for that like grimdark. It's going for like that idea that like what if I think Jeff Gerstmann has proposed this, Ryan Davis proposed this. People have talked about this before, right? What if like people like they made the new Duke game came out and everyone around Duke Nukem were like, what the fuck is up with Duke? This guy sucks. And he was like lost in time, like, and unaware of toxic masculinity. So this is like this is apparently playing with the genre. The trailer looks very fun, and the music was cool in the trailer, and it looks like it's a good one of those. And the bonus of it having some self-awareness, I think, is pretty neat. Saw that this morning, looks fantastic. It's by a team that did Hypnos. Yes, it is the Hypnospace Outlaw team. And there's a Twitter account says Zane Rocks 36, which is very funny because it says Name says 36, but I'm 38. Dollar Saver, manager and CEO of Big Z Studios, Inc. We're making Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer, a twisted FPS. So they have a account for the game account is in the voice of the person that made it. And apparently there is some of the first level is out in the beta. I have not tried the beta. I don't know if this is going to be a game for me, but it certainly seems cool and nonsense, and I'm interested in that. It's not spelled twisted, no. But yeah, I think it is just a fun thing. It seems like a cool project. I'm into the idea. I hope it's great. But that's some nice gaming news. So, thank you for the folks that retweeted. So, let's see. Here's some not great gaming news. Stop me if you've heard this before, but Blizzard hit the undo button on a thing that they promised they were going to do. Because you might remember this. At a certain point, they were like, Blizzard was like, Overwatch, we're going to stop working on Overwatch. Because we need to make Overwatch 2. And we can't keep working on Overwatch if we're going to make Overwatch 2. And it's got to be Overwatch 2. Because Overwatch 2 is going to be what you loved about Overwatch. But also, instead of just being a PvP, we're going to do PvE. And your storytelling isn't going to be in like comic books or like our animations and outside of it. It's going to be in the game. It's going to be like a full-fledged PvE environment, but you'll still get your PvP action. And they were like, hey, if we want to put Overwatch 2 out in any good time frame, we can't really ship both of these games together, both these parts of the game together. So we're going to give you Overwatch PvP, Overwatch 2. It's going to feel a lot like that. We're going to change some Battle Pass stuff. We're going to change some systems. We're going to make it feel way worse in many instances, better in some. But don't worry about it, because eventually you're going to get your PvE shit, and it's going to be great. That isn't. It isn't. That mode is done. You may remember that Overwatch was them trying to salvage something from a game, an MMO called Titan they were going to make. And they were like, we cannot be making this. We got to do something. And they made Overwatch with that stuff. And it did very well. And they were like, in 2019, they were like, Overwatch 2, it's coming. And I was like, why? Well, this new mode, and it does very much feel like somebody high up in Blizzard just decided that a 2 was important. And it's bad. And then in this article, they were like, we knew at a certain point this was never going to work. And when they knew it, supposedly, according to these two people, was while they were telling people that the PvE was definitely going to come later. And it's like, so are you just flat out saying you lie to sell more copies to sell Overwatch 2 to people? It's like, what the fuck? And apparently getting rid of this stuff is like, no, this was important. We needed to do this. And it's like, okay. Luckily, it's free to play. Yes, Lord Crescent. But it moved everybody over. It changed the systems. And also, they promised this PvE thing that isn't here. So the talents, the power progression system, the hero mode, gone. I'm going to look at this here. Um, yeah, so it's like, as the team learned more about what it took to make the PvE mode, as it learned more about the time, the iteration, and technology required, it became clear the schedule wasn't going to work. And it's like, well, then don't fucking promise people stuff then. Yes, it does make. Oh, no, yeah, Lord Crashes in. Totally. It does make it seem like, obviously in retrospect, but even in the time, it didn't seem like it was going to be, a good idea to just shut that shit down. And then obviously, to siphon people off. Like, obviously, it wasn't a good idea. We know that because this is the reality we are left with, where everything is fucked and a bunch of people are mad. Now, would people be mad anyway? Yes, but also people are mad. It is a rare instance where every single person who is mad is justified. With the exception, of course, are people who are mad on behalf of developers. Because when people are mad on behalf of developers at people, that's always a weird thing. You don't have to stand corporations. I understand that. Now, I think you should certainly be mad at Blizzard as a company. The higher ups that make these decisions. Actual developers? Nah, don't be mad at developers. They're just doing what they're doing. I'm sure a lot of people spent a lot of time in a company that fucking sucks trying to make some cool shit for people and did not get the opportunity to do that. Because somebody somewhere looked at a spreadsheet and said, hey, why haven't we made a sequel to Overwatch yet? When are we making a sequel to Overwatch? Well, it's a live service game. The thing you told us we have to start making, that doesn't need to be in a sequel to Overwatch. Well, yeah, but you can... What? No, you got to make a sequel to Overwatch. Figure out how. And they were like, well, if we did something dramatically different with it to justify it, yeah. I'm already not listening. That is my interpretation of what happened. Again. But they're like, hey, we got a bunch of cool shit coming out. It's not any of that stuff we promised you, but it is cool shit. It's just like, nah. We're good. And like, yeah, even if you're like, hey, we worked on some tech, that's all going in the game, like whatever. Yeah. Yes. Yes, WoW too, exactly. I'm sure that there have been people in Blizzard who have been very mad that no one is listening to them when they say what we really need to do is release is to start developing World of Warcraft 2. So people will come back to World of Warcraft. Like, I'm sure there are people who are fucking pissed off that no one is listening to them about all the money they were leaving on the table by not developing the sequel to World of Warcraft, Warcraft 2. And we need to start getting people to move over to Warcraft 2, World of Warcraft 2. I'm sure there are people. We need Warcraft 4. I mean, we're not going to ever get another Warcraft. It would be neat to get another Warcraft. But we're not. But we're getting Diablo 4, and that's fun. I'm excited for Diablo 4. I don't think I'm going to be covering it on stream, but I'm playing it. So yeah, that's a bunch of nonsense. Speaking of nonsense, light nonsense here. Elon Musk legitimately believed fake information that was sent to him. He is literally believing fake news because he believed that someone told him that that there's a person who owns the Internet Archive and the Wayback Machine, and that they deleted information that their niece requested It's just like nobody owns the Internet Archive. The Wayback Machine is part of the Internet Archive. Like literally, someone's just like, well, I bet I heard that they asked their uncle to delete this information. This journalist, and is like, no, no, oh no. So yeah, that happened, and that was a bunch of nonsense. And then also, hey, um, if you have Twitter Blue, come on. But also, you can upload 2 hour long videos, up to 8 gigs of video. So you can put up your movies, your for some reason uploaded movies that don't get taken down. They can now be better quality. Congratulations, you spent $8 a month to do that. That's not a problem that anyone had. Tell Jeff to upload his stream archives to Twitter now. No, no, I'm not telling Jeff to get Twitter Blue. Let's see. And also, people are uploading full movies and then just replying to that tweet with the full movie that they obviously do not have the rights to. Uh, let's see. Yes. Was the Internet Archive manipulated for nepotism reasons? Yeah, that's the whole thing. Also, Elon Musk did ask why some crimes are considered hate crimes. Shouldn't we hate all crime? Which is what a child asks. That's like my first philosophical thought level. Um, it's just nonsense. Wonder how many videos you have to upload a month to start costing Twitter money. Who knows? I'm sure they offload the cost to someone else who doesn't realize it. Uh, yes, Lord Crash, and then yes, someone just directly replied to that with Shrek the Third, the full movie, which is, I guess, an okay use of your Twitter Blue. Um, let's see. What else should I say? I know I'm an old man about this. I have to be okay with this because language changes, right? This is important, right? This is an important thing to say. Language changes, and you have to be okay with that. Words sometimes, like when people say words mean things, that's bullshit. We decide what words mean. Um, Literally means literally, and it also means figuratively. And that is fine that happens. It happens, and okay. So I am being an old man about this. I'm yelling at clouds about this. I'm going to be okay with this. But for a demographic of the world, a certain portion of the world, the term POV no longer means point of view. It now means an example of. And that bothers me because POV meant something, and it doesn't mean that to some people anymore. If you see a video on TikTok and it says POV, you're doing something. You are not seeing that. You instead are seeing what could have been titled a month ago, that feeling when. POV now means that feeling when. So in this new world, in the old world, the old use of the term, you would say POV. Your date is you're on a weird date. the thing you would see would be somebody being weird. Now, you see somebody being nervous and looking around and not sure of themselves because it's not a POV, it's not a point of view. You know, it's you're now seeing an example of that feeling when. And I don't know why that happened, but it did. POV changed the definition for some people, and I don't like that, but also I can't do anything about it. I have to let it go. I have to get over it. And that's on me. And I think maybe it's because I'm terminally online that I am like feeling this. And at the very least, I will say this. This is not people taking language of other people and adopting it and taking its definition and then muddying it. This is a misunderstanding of POV and changing its definition. It is not point of view. It is, here's a point that you're viewing. And I don't like that. And I wish it would stop. But I don't think I can control it. And it's also weird because what does that do for a certain type of pornography? What do we do? What are we doing now with that? How are we going to fix that? I don't know. I don't know how you change that. It's very strange. I'm ranting about that, and that there were some people who agreed with me on that, and then there at least somebody who was very young, seemingly anyway, from their Twitter account, was like, I don't understand what you mean and what you're unhappy with. And it's like, that's okay. I'm not going to explain it to you that they changed the definition of point of view. Some people did. And then as time goes on, it's going to keep going and it will just change. But also, I just have to let it go. Otherwise, I will be a man yelling at clouds. And I am a 42-year-old man. I'll be 43 in June. And I can't be out here being mad at language changing. Because language rules are bullshit. Words don't mean anything. It's all up to context and what we decide. It's fucking fine. It's fucking fine. But also, this one bothers me. I don't know. Wrestling. Many good things happened on AEW Dynamite last night. And that was good. There was some very good wrestling. There were some good bits. Things got set up for next weekend's, not this weekend, next weekend's pay-per-view, which was necessary because for a while there was only one confirmed match for the card. So the fact that they have added more matches is very good. As of right now, there are several matches that have been booked. There are 2 matches that were booked during tomorrow night's Rampage, which is on a special time, which is annoying. Again, they did it again. But there are 2 matches that were booked for that. But I can tell you the card main event. We knew what the main event was going to be. MJF defending against Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and Darby Allin in a 4-way fight. The tag match, FTR putting their titles on the line against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. That looks good. We found out last night the Wardlow versus Christian Cage match. Christian Cage, not a cage match. The match with Christian Cage is going to be a ladder match, which is an interesting way to have, Christian is older, is an older wrestler. This is an interesting way to have him participate and compete. I'm not against it. I'm like, okay. It looks like I did miss some pieces here. When did I miss to put those on? Ooh, a while ago I didn't put those on. That's fun. That goes there. Ah, yes. I missed 2 pieces, and I'm putting them on now. Put those there. Put that there. This goes here. And then these cover that up. Every Christian match is a cage match, indeed. It feels like they wrapped up this 4-pillar storyline too early. Why are they doing random matches still? I mean, to build people up, right? To like, yes. They didn't wait. They should have waited longer. Maybe MJF could have had a television defense of the title. They got into the storyline and wrapped it up too soon. That is an issue with them having only so many pay-per-views. Sometimes they just have a long time between them where there is nothing and they don't really build to anything. We found out on Wednesday, so many people want a shot at Orange Cassidy's title that he was like, fine. If you want a shot, go see Tony Khan, ask for a shot. And supposedly 20 competitors went to go see Tony Khan. So Orange Cassidy was like, we're in Vegas. It's 20. I'd be 21. That's a blackjack thing, right? All right, so we're going to do a 21-man blackjack battle royale. I'll take you all on. And then he pauses and says, like, or 22, Renee, do you want in on this? Renee Paquette, who was interviewing him, and she takes a moment to consider it before saying no. Which I think is very funny. That she was just like, no. I mean, hey, battle royale, shoot your shot. She does not shoot her shot in this time. That's a fun idea. Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm got booked. We were expecting something of that. Hopefully Jamie's injury that prevented her from wrestling last night is not going to fuck up anything with that match. That is for the women's title. And then the not the main event, but in the main event, post-main event, there is a new match that has been booked. It is the Blackpool Combat Club in Anarchy in the Arena match. So it is just a empty arena match. It is the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta versus the Elite, Kenny Omega, and then the Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, and the 4th member of the Elite, the sometimes not member, sometimes member, the returning Hangman Adam Page. They are reunited, and it feels so good, and that's cool as shit and fun. It was nice seeing the boys back together. Kenny accepting that, welcoming, seeming to support and welcoming back. We haven't seen Takeshita. Will we see Takeshita involved in that? Will Takeshita come in, turn heel? Will it save the day? Are they going to do the worst thing possible, which is just pretend like Takeshita was never hanging out with the Elite and helping out with the Elite and just disappears? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing with that part of the story. And then there are 2 other matches, one of which has been listed on Double or Nothing's Wikipedia article, but I know has not been proposed until tomorrow. And another which is not listed in there, and I know also gets brought up there. There is talk of maybe the Trios titles being defended, but I don't think they will be. Maybe they will. Maybe they're the pre-show. Maybe that goes into 0 hour. I don't know. I could see that happening. I could also see it not. We got a bunch of extra parts here. We're going to keep those where they are before we get it back to, because we got a lot of stickers to put on. That's right, friends. It's time to add 5 stickers to this kit because we are almost done with bag 1. Nathan says, I think the 4-pillar story was supposed to elevate the other 3 guys, but I feel like it has just made them look not as good compared to MJF. Yes. I think that everyone should have recognized that Sammy Guevara is good on the mic in bits and spurts, and is best in the ring at what he does. All of them are better in the ring than they are on the mic. Sammy is the best of the 3, but putting all 4 of them in the same ring together doesn't work because MJF is so much better at cutting promos than the rest of them. Jack Perry working with Christian has helped Jack Perry a lot, but he's still not there. Darby Allin is very good in videos where you don't hear him heavily breathe into a microphone because he can't talk into a microphone without breathing heavily and being in a bad spot, and that's not good. And Sammy Guevara is good at heel promos and good at face promos, but I don't think he's good at tweener promos, and I also don't think he should be a tweener. He shouldn't be working in between, but whatever. But yes, that was bad. Darby's presentation. Darby's place in the card as like a mid-carder that could go up at any time makes a lot of sense because he has been, he's had the TNT belt a number of times. He's had incredible matches. He's had high-profile matches. He often has Sting in his corner. I think that, those are all very good points for him. I think that Jack Perry needed one more big thing. Defeating Jungle Luchasaurus and sending Christian to hell in a casket was cool. Don't get me wrong. But, I think he needed one more high-profile bit of business. And Sammy has Jericho Appreciation Society stink on him. Every time I see Sammy, I'm like, where's Daniel Garcia? Where's his buddy Daniel? Where's oh no, what did they do to my boy, Daniel Garcia? It's like, eventually we'll do well outside of this shenanigans. But it's like, Sammy to me just has the stink of being the number 2 or 3 guy in a faction. And then suddenly not with that. Hey, how come the Jericho Appreciation Society isn't helping Sammy? Why is Sammy doing it on his own? Doesn't make any sense. Should have sent him to Christian hell. Yes. One more match. Yes, one more match era Christian. Indeed. He deserves one more match, friends. It's all bullshit. It's just not working. Which is why they started having them do matches. Because guess what? Jungle Boy defeating Roosh helps him. Darby Allin having a match with a tag match with Orange Cassidy helps him. A squash match against Sammy got no favors by squashing a dude with a fun name. That didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why did we do that? Why are we doing squash matches in the year of our Lord 2023? I don't know. I think when Sammy doesn't win, he should be kicked out of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Totally. I totally think that should happen. I think that he didn't pull it off. He didn't bring the belt home, and they don't need him there. Yeah, I think because the alternative is this ends and he just goes back to being in a faction, or Jericho should be like, I had all these problems with Adam Cole. Where were you? And he's like, I was in the main event trying to win the title. And he's like, yeah. Who cares about that? We didn't think nobody thought you were going to win. So who cares? I needed you. It's like selfish Jericho. Like, that's something for him. I don't know what he's going to do, what he's going to get. We're going to null here. We're going to part separate here. We've got all our pieces. Get those together. Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm. Would I prefer it's Jamie Hayter versus Ruby Soho? Yes. I'd rather see Ruby wrestle. I don't think Toni Storm is going to win this belt. I think that this is not the end of this storyline. People were like, oh, it should end here, right? It's like, no, it's not a multi-person match. It's got to be a 3-person match. This isn't the story doesn't end because one of the 3 baddies lost to the top goodie. That's not how this works. Should it be how this works? Possibly, but it's not. Let's see. Right before, we're going to take a pause for the calls, and I'll talk about ways you can support the channel. But before I do that, I do want to just briefly say that I have been against Jeff Jarrett as an on-television personality since day one. The idea of hiring Jeff Jarrett to work on your business stuff and your touring when you are adding in house shows and you are, increasing your touring makes a lot of sense. The man has worked in a lot of different industry, a lot of different jobs, and a lot of different businesses in wrestling. Having some old timers around that know what they're doing, and that makes total sense, right? Him being on television, never been a big fan of. Not a fan of that. Him having now a second title opportunity, not a fan of that. I don't need Jeff Jarrett with a belt. But people have been like, oh, I like it. He gets actual heat. People boo him, and they enjoy booing him. So I'm for it. And I'm like, okay, I can't really agree with that, but I can understand. Well, his wife works for the company now. At the very least, she has been there once. That's right. Karen Jarrett. One of the worst parts of Impact TNA. And that's saying something. If you are part of one of the worst times in a bad company's history, that is fucking saying something. Karen Jarrett is not a good actress, not a good wrestling manager. The best part of Karen, the best presentation of Karen was when she was with, in storyline, AJ Styles, and he was a goober trying to impress her and her kids with Kurt Angle. And that was the best thing that she's ever done, has been a person that was put out by AJ's just being a bashful dumbass, a lovable dumbass. Everything else has been bad, and this is her showing up and getting involved, physically involved, is terrible. It is awful. I'm gonna be so fucking mad if they win the belts. I'm gonna be so mad if one of the best divisions in AEW has Jeff Jarrett as one of the champions. If their big decision is, well, the Ring of Honor tag belts are held by, like, two of the best wrestlers in the company, but the AEW belts are held by Jeff Jarrett. That's going to suck ass. That's going to be real shit. She should be an actual Karen. I mean, here's the thing. Lord Crashington. She is. She already is a Karen. Karen Jarrett is a Karen. She was a Karen before we were calling people like that a Karen. If you told me that the reason that name stuck out to be a white woman like that, if it was people who were aware of Impact, TNA Impact, and the reason they were calling, you're such a Karen, and they were thinking of Karen Jarrett, formerly Karen Angle, I would believe you. If that is the etymology of calling people Karen is, oh yeah, well I started, we're all wrestle friends, and I started calling women like that because I remember Karen from TV, TNA. I'd be like, yeah, of course you do. That's how you got to know. That's your prime example of a Karen? Sure. Awful. She should not be earning any money in AEW. If you're like, hey, there were, let's see, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you're like, hey, there were 8 women in AEW last night, and one of them is Karen Jarrett, that sucks. Should also point out, that's 8 women? That's a lot for AEW. And that also sucks. That I just said more than most weeks, because there's a faction of 3, a tag team of 2, a referee, Renee Paquette, the interviewer, and Karen Jarrett. One of the 8 women that was on AEW last night is Karen Jarrett, and that sucks. Sucks. Anyway, I'm going to take a pause for the cause. I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel, And then we're going to start working in bag 2. I don't think we're going to finish this tonight, but we're definitely going to finish it on Saturday. But right now, we can just chat. I'm going to talk about Wasting Sports Channel. All the things I'm going to talk about here are optional. You don't have to do any of these things. But if you would like to do any of these things, that would be cool. You can totally do that. First and foremost, throw the Barricade, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote. If you are a subscriber, subscribing is the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money, through your Prime gaming token if you have Amazon Prime. Becoming a subscriber. Somebody renewed their sub but didn't hit the notification button. If that was you, thank you very much. You could gift a sub to somebody in the community. If you want to do that and join the gift sub leaderboard along with Bobby and Njan and Omega 9, that would be cool. I said Omega 9 weird. Omega 9X. Bits and coins always appreciated. You could join Harold there with the bits. That's through Twitch. That's the easiest way because you're already here. And you probably have a payment thing set up with Twitch. And if you that's not how you want to roll, what about my Patreon at patreon.com/PatBaer? There are different rewards for different tiers. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. Again, different rewards for different tiers. Consider it. Think about it. What if you join my Patreon? You could do that. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBaer. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can subscribe for free. Please subscribe because I make fun videos that you would like. Also over there, if you wanted to, you could join. You become a member. And for $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. The video I put out yesterday for people to enjoy, you could have watched that on Tuesday. You would have been ahead of the curve. And also there are direct donations through Coffee and Stream Elements and through PayPal directly. Because if you just want me to buy a model kit now and again, but you don't want to help me on a monthly time frame, I understand that. Everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, through Patreon, and through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and I buy model kits and equipment with that. This Lego set that we're working on right now, the Ferrari 512M, I purchased this kit, or this Lego set, I should say, because I had money available to me to pick that kit up because of your generosity. So thank you very much for that. You've helped me. Let's see. Those are all ways to support me financially. But what about, like, you don't want to, like, join a thing. You don't want to subscribe to anything. But you would like to decide what I build next. Specifically, you want to decide the thing that I'm going to be building in the future. Because you're going to pay for it by buying something from my Amazon wish list. I have a bunch of stuff on here. I got more Lego sets. If you're liking the Lego and you want me to keep building the Lego, inexpensive kits, expensive kits, all kinds of different things here. Lego model kits, all kinds of different stuff. There's a puzzle in there that I bet is a nightmare, and but I'll build it. It's got some positive reviews. It seems to be licensed, which is nice. But yeah, some inexpensive sets, some expensive sets, some stuff that's on sale, stuff that never goes on sale, all kinds of different things. Free shipping, not free shipping. There's Prime free shipping, and then there's like Amazon Prime shipping. It's a whole thing. But a bunch of different things. See if there's something on the list that you'd like to see me build. Just pick that up. Hey, the Fast and Furious car is down to $25. That's good. That's cool. The LEGO Speed Champions 2 Fast 2 Furious Nissan Skyline GTR is on sale for $25. That's a pretty good price. A bunch of different things in here. Like I said, you buy it, it comes to me, it jumps the queue. I make a YouTube video about the thing you purchased. There's some gear at the bottom because it's always nice to have some gear options. See if there's something there that you'd like to see me build, or if you just want to, like, buy me a better chair. You could do that too. That's my wish. Hey, also, my birthday is about a month from now. Just saying. You could also visit my Throne wish list. Lots of gift cards there and some other items, but it's nice to have an alternative to Amazon. And then also you could just go to USA Gundam Store, buy a gift card, then send me a DM on Twitter or whisper here on Twitch with that gift card code. That is a convoluted way to support me, but it does specifically mean that I'll definitely be buying something from USA Gundam Store that way. And it'll probably be a Wish for Mercury kit. let's see. I have a Discord. If you want to hang out in the Discord, feel free to do that. That would be cool. Go over there. Um, I will have a new episode on Monday of Pat Bear's Anime Club, but my current Pat Bear's Anime Club is me trying to explain or answer the question, why are light novel titles so long? Why are they fucking sentences like, I got a cheat ability in a different world and became extraordinary, even in the real world? Why is it that? Why is it so long? I'll kind of get into that. And then Baerly Rehearsed. This is based on a true event that happened to me last Friday when I went out to dinner for my dad's birthday. I overheard something, and then I wrote a character piece based on what I overheard because it made me laugh. So now presenting to that, click on that if you want to watch me joke around. And also, warning, you might get hungry. It turned out good. One of my favorites that I've done recently. So that's always makes me happy. Okay. I'm gonna get into talking about some anime here, and I'll go through all that in a second. But before I get into the anime talk, I am going to have a drink of water, and then we'll get back to working on some Lego and doing that whole thing. So we're going to dramatically transition to the overhead right now. All right, so let's get into that. Reminder, the second anime we'll be talking about tonight, which is Oshi no Ko. When I talk about Oshi no Ko, an event that happened in this episode of that show does deal with suicide and cyberbullying. And we will be talking about the events of what happened in that anime, and therefore we will be talking about those topics. If that is not a thing that you would like to hear from your friend Pat, a discussion on those topics because they are sensitive to you, I totally fucking understand. As always, you can say peace out at any point. I love that people watch me build Lego and model kits and talk about shit that I want to talk about. It makes me very happy that I can be something on a consistent basis for people to hang out, a nice little corner of the internet. That makes me very, very chuffed, very pleased about that. But if you don't want to hear me talk about stuff like that, totally understand. We won't get into that in I got a cheat ability in a different world and became extraordinary, even in the real world. We are getting very close to being caught up where the manga is because this is based on the light novel version, of course. So I am interested to see how this goes. I believe by the end of the season, we will, or very soon, we will surpass where we were there, which will be interesting to see that. But anyway, this week's episode, we have Yuya and Knight. They are exploring the area and they are training. Remember, Knight is a Fenrir. Yuya is in a fantasy. He can go back and forth between the fantasy world and this world. So Yuya and Knight show up and they encounter a girl who is being attacked by a group of goblins. And weirdly enough, Knight does not like the vibes of this girl, but Yuya still ends up helping her. And her name is Yuya. Luna. He's Yuya. She's Luna. And she says, I came into the forest to train. I am here to do training. Which is weird because she seems strong, but like nobody comes to this fucking forest. That's kind of the whole goddamn point. That's why the great sage made his home here. So that's weird. I didn't know. I just color separated here, so I'm gonna have to be digging for some parts, but we'll be okay, everybody. All right, then we need slidey bit and black 1x1. Yuya is hanging out, and we get some POV. We get some actual point of view. We get some inner thoughts of our girl Luna, who is just like, wow, this guy is very nice. Apparently, she has not been well treated by people. and he is a kind, generous dude. And she's like, "Hey, I would like to train with you." And he's just like, "You asked me a thing. You asked me to do a thing, and that I want to do. So sure, I will help you train." So we get some of that, and then sometime later, they've been training together, but Yuya has to go because he's got a school camping trip to attend. We knew about that. There was a whole shopping thing that also involved a fire and him being cool and awesome. So they go to this mountain that is owned by the academy, and they have to rough it, and they have to do a bunch of stuff, and people were not prepared for that. And you probably already guessed it, but our boy Yuya is fucking rad. We're going to see more examples of our boy Yuya be rad at this shit, but turns out it's not hard to fish if you have super lightning fast reflexes and can just scoop fish out of the water and catch fish that way. And everyone gets to see him be fucking rad. And there's going to be more of that. There's going to be more of Yuya, more opportunities for Yuya to be cool as shit. But then, back in the fantasy world, back in that world, we find out that Luna is a headhunter. That's why Night gets like sense like, the blood and violence on her. And the headhunters are the group that the prince hired to kill the princess, Lexia, because you may remember that's how they met. There was the meet cute that they had was that Lexia was attacked in that forest and set up, and then it was saved by our boy. Our boy saved the day. So at some point, they're going to have to fight because one would imagine that our dude Yuya is not going to let her kill the princess. So that's rough. But our guy has he's been betrayed by a lot of people. I don't want to say he's used to it, but he does have life experience where he's got some people that are not looking out for his best interests. So yeah, more shit's coming, and we're getting closer to where we left off in the manga. Now, content warning again for Oshi no Ko. You may remember. So again, you'd be forgiven for forgetting that this show is about a young man who is the reincarnation of a doctor who was murdered while trying to help an idol give birth to twins, and he became one of those twins. And so he is attempting, as he grows up, to find out who then was later murdered after giving birth. He is attempting to find out who his birth father is because he believes that his secret father, led the stalker and set up her mother on 2 occasions, and then also contributed to his death. But he is less interested in finding out who killed him in that previous life and more finding about getting revenge for the idol he loved, who was also his mother. But you'd be forgiven for forgetting that that's the fucking plot, because it's more about, in the last few episodes, it has been about how hard it is to be an idol and various types of being an actor and a young person in that world. He and his friends are on, and some of his friends and some strangers are on a reality dating show called Love Now. And Aqua finds out that these reality shows are less scripted, and so it actually benefits him because he's not necessarily a good actor, but he can be kind of genuine. But also because it's not fully scripted, things aren't going great. You can't really guide it. Kana teaches Ruby about the importance of dangers of what they term, which is a real term that they use, ego surfing, which is just being terminally online about yourself because you were a famous person and people were talking about you, and how that is dangerous. Which I would, yes, yes, I agree with that statement. Let's see, is this the right one? This is the right one. Great. All right, and that pops in there. That's the door. I have my Lego person standing up. I should probably have them sit down. I think that would make more sense. Probably. All right, so put those on there. I imagine this door will be more secure soon. The show starts focusing on a love triangle between Yuki, Nobuyuki, and Kengo. And Aqua is our main character. Is decided, even though he's on a reality show, he's there more to do research and to investigate people. He's not really there to stand out in the show. Akane has been struggling because she doesn't really doesn't come across as that genuine. She doesn't have a lot of fans, and she's not getting a lot of screen time. And so she kind of loses control at one point, and she slaps Yuki and scars her face. And Yuki is incredibly popular. And then Akane posts her apology, and she gets forgiven, but Yuki has some diehard fans, and those fans are fucking pissed off about what's happening here, and they end up. Oops, it's the wrong here. There we go. They end up starting to bully Akane and cyberbullying her and talking shit and on negative comments. Finding out that people in her school have turned against her. And some of them never liked her in the first place. And then some of her fans have turned away. She didn't have a lot of fans supporting her in the first place, but they're kind of not vocally supporting her. And she gets depressed and almost commits suicide by jumping off a bridge. And then Aqua happens to be there. And that's where we're leaving things. Now, is this because he is special, because he is a reincarnation? No, probably not. Is that, I have not read the manga, I cannot tell you fully. I've not fully read the manga, so I do not know. Is this because he is an adult in a teen's body? Partially, probably. It probably has something to do with it. The fact that he is a grown-ass man and also was a doctor, a medical doctor, and maybe can perceive some guidance. But mostly he's just there accidentally. It's not his superpowers that have just suddenly put him there. And it adds some realism to it. Now, again, point out, this is based on Hana, who was a wrestler in reality. Hana was a professional wrestler who was on Terrace House, which is a reality show where young people, often in Japanese, sometimes some people, they did one season in Hawaii. There have been people who have been who can speak Japanese but aren't Japanese. But mostly it is just these people live in a house and then the cameras are there when they're in the house. It's the real world, but most of it is really just real. It is just interactions. It's and also people come and go. Some people just yeah, I got my new job, or I only had so much time off to do this, or this was my summer break and I got to go back to school or whatever. People kind of come and go. It's very generally chill. And Hana was not liked by people watching it. And also, it's fairly real time in its presentation. There is some delay, obviously, but not a lot of delay. Hana was not well liked. And part of it, and then I don't want to, I am not putting any blame on her. I am merely explaining how things escalated. And part of the escalation was Hana was a professional wrestler. And to Hana, a negative response in a wrestling context is still a good thing. because heels want people to boo them. So Hana leaned into not being super popular. She started being a heel. But the majority of people who were watching Terrace House were not knowledgeable about wrestlers. So to them, Hana was not playing the role of a bad person. Hana was a bad person. So instead of her playing along with the negative vibes that she was getting from people, and it working for her, it just infuriated the people who already didn't like her because she was showing her quote unquote true colors. And the bullying didn't stop, or she didn't control it. It just intensified. And she took her life. And it's awful. It would be bad if she was an awful person. It would still be bad and still be terrible. Now, should a manga, like weeks and weeks after this, very soon after, should a manga be tackling issues that matter to people, especially considering that it is about young people in the entertainment industry, the idol industry? Sure. Should it have been direct parallels to an actual real person? Yeah. Do I feel like the anime handled it well? Not yet. I will feel better watching another episode. Because the idea that in a manga, it was several chapters, right? Anime episode is several chapters of a manga or several chapters of a light novel, right? Because of the pacing, the suicide problem, quotation marks, heavy quotation marks, suicide problem, is a introduced and then handled thing in one episode. And that feels bad. Again, will next week's episode delve in more with her and helping her out and seeing what's going on and seeing how other people react to this news and some kind of big thing from Aqua? I don't know. I don't know where they're exactly going with it and how they're going to handle that as they move forward. Welcome, the dog Snoopy. Happy to have you here. I don't know how it's going to move forward in the next few episodes. How deep they're going to go with it. But because it's just like a introduced and then dealt with in one episode situation, it does feel very like cynical and heavy-handed. And that's not great when dealing with a serious, for real issue like that. Doesn't feel awesome to me. Other people may disagree. I know some people really like this episode. And I know some folks that are aware of the story. Yeah, it was rough. The dog Snoopy says, you're welcome. How are you? Nice Lego Ferrari build. I love it so far. I'm really enjoying this build. Thank you. I'm doing well. I've talked about this before, but I'll say very briefly, my last model kit that I worked on was a difficult build and was very frustrating that we finished up on Monday's stream. So to be working on something, we've gotten all of this progress done tonight. This is a smaller kit. We're not going to finish it on this stream, but we'll finish it on Saturday and then start something new. I'm very happy to have what is already looking rad and has not been a frustrating build. That is very nice. I'm very happy about that. I missed a couple pieces. We went back and fixed it. No problem at all. So it's been nice to do that. And then to wrap up our anime talk, again, Oshi no Ko, not excited. Interested to see how next week's episode goes and where they take this stuff. So I'll be interested to see that next week. But I did want to briefly talk about the events that happened in Sacrificial Princess and the King of So I obviously, you got this kingdom of beasts. They've been persecuted for so many years. They have very negative feelings about humanity. Finding out that their queen is going to be a human woman, they are not pleased about that. Of course, they're not pleased. So, in the continued attempt to undermine our girl, let me find these pieces that I need here. And in continued attempt to undermine her, she is told to prove that she should be herself as queen. She needs to summon a holy beast. Now, normally you would use magic for that, but our girl doesn't have the ability to cast magic. So instead, she's going to have to use some of her life force, which the King of Beasts is against. Leonhardt is not in favor of. But she's just like, yeah, but, you know, my life is yours to do with whatever, because I was raised to be a sacrifice, and this is better than that. Also, she could summon something that sucks because she doesn't have magic powers. She could just summon like a nonsense demon. And then there's a nice line from Leonhardt. He's like, no, I need you to live on. Like, you're going to be my bride. Like, don't sell yourself short. Don't sacrifice yourself. Look after yourself, which is nice. And he is the first person in her life to ever say something like that. So, you know, it means a lot to her. Let's see. I need this 1x3. I need this. And then I need this one here. Great. I am finding the pieces. We know by color. I did not separate everything else besides the color. So just figuring it out as we go, finding the pieces we need as we need them. Let's see. Sarafi fucks up several times, and she finally does it, and she ends up summoning a baby phoenix named Bennu. But people are just like, she's the only one that can understand what Bennu is saying. And people are like, is this fucking really a phoenix? And then, apparently, the reason why he's not that strong right now, why he's in the state that he's in, is because he was constantly being used, and his magic powers were eaten away, healing some soldiers. And so his powers are not where they should be. It's been a while since we had some assassins around that are trying to fuck up the Kingdom of Beasts. Assassins shoot arrows, and Bennu he falls, and then Seraphie instantly just like jumps into action to save her, to save Bennu, I should say. But that puts her at risk, of course. And then Bennu transforms into his full Phoenix form, which I don't think he can do for long, to catch her. And everyone is fucking amazed and shocked because, hey, that Phoenix is actually a Phoenix. Holy shit, it looks cool. I wouldn't say the animation in this show is top tier. The backgrounds are goddamn gorgeous, but the, moment-to-moment animation is not always the best. But this looked rad. This looked rad as hell, and was very cool. That looks like that. And then this actually needs to be on this side. And yeah, that's pretty much the episode. There was a lot of this episode was her trying to summon a holy beast and just fucking up. Like, that was a big portion of this episode, was her just like eating shit, not doing as well as she should be able to do. I still really like this show. Again, it's not the best animated thing out there, but it's still cool. I think the story is interesting. So I am still continuing to be happy about that. Let's see. Put that there. Great. Okay. Snap that on. Let's see. That is the end of me talking about some anime. We can talk about some video game stuff. We already talked about some video game news. I would like to hear from you, friends. Did you what are you playing? What are you watching? You playing any video games right now? You watching any shows? You catching up on any movies? You reading any good books lately? I've been reading some manga. I recently completed some manga. I can tell you about those. Let's see, it's a list. Let's see the manga list. Where's the manga list? Video games is the same as always, but in the world of other media, I could say. Yeah, I've been reading The Necromancer Maid. I think there was like 29 chapters of that. I finished The Necromancer Maid. That is a lovely... it's a weird thing. We'll talk about that more in the future, probably. But it is a weird thing where it wants to be a slice of life, but it definitely does not want to be a chill slice of life, because there's some heartbreak in there. But it is a cute idea about a girl that knows that she cannot be hired as a necromancer anywhere. So she ends up getting hired as a maid. And she ends up being a maid for a kind of a known weirdo, because he who ends up accepting her for who she is, and it's a lovely little tale. Laura Crashington played some Humanity, which is a real cool mix of Lemmings and Choo Choo Rocket. I have watched footage of Humanity. I have not played that yet, but that does look fucking rad. Yeah. I think that is a pretty cool story. Like, that is a game, I should say. But yeah, that is a fun game to watch people play. I mean, most people are these days, right now, I should say, not these days. Most people out there are streaming Tears of the Kingdom, but it is cool to have some people, playing a few other things out there, and it's nice to see Humanity. Nathan finished Miles Morales, waiting for Street Fighter 6 beta to start. Hell yeah, more Street Fighter 6. Lord Crash says, I get off work early tomorrow, gonna see Fast X in the afternoon. Okay, yeah. Thank you for reminding me that's coming out. I forgot that was coming out. I don't plan to see that in theaters, but I forgot that was even a thing, an option for me, that I could see it. Again, I'm not planning on it, but I even forgot that was a possibility. So that's cool. Hope you have a good time, Lord Crash, and then get out of work early. Last night, after watching wrestling, AEW wrestling, watched more of the Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. They did a show, I cannot remember where, but it was in a venue where they could not live stream. And they do that now and again, where if they do a show where they can't live stream, they record it, of course, and then it gets uploaded a couple days later. Sometimes that is because of the venue. Sometimes it is part of the deal they have with ticket holders and all that, or the ticket, pressing and all that. So they put that up, and so I watched that show, which was fun. Nothing big, it did set up, which had been announced. It was to help set up the idea of Maki Ito challenging Mizuki for the Princess Championship. So that was good to set that up. Good stare down from them. And also my favorite nonsense trio, Raku, Palm, and Yuki Aino won. That trio, I recommend. I think about that trio as a stepmom who's like still trying to be cool, hanging out with her two weird stepdaughters. Because Raku is weird and Palm is real weird, and Yuki Aino is a little older than them and just kind of has like young mom energy. But she also dresses like she's a 90s raver. It has good ring gear. So I was just like, I like that. Like, she's not weird and they're weird, and it is fun for her to be like swept along with their weirdness. I didn't know until I got an email about it being in theaters today. Nice, Lord Crashington. Lastberg says, finally finished Metroid Prime, which is pretty good. Now I can get on to the Zelda game everyone is talking about. Breath of the Wild. Yes. Everyone, you keep hearing people won't shut up about talking about their favorite game of the moment, Breath of the Wild. Um, I want to do the DLC and beat the game before I play Tears of the Kingdom. Totally understand. Makes sense. But that was just fun to be like, yeah, I'm also playing Zelda. I do know some people that wanted to finish the DLC and didn't get a chance to do it, so now they're kind of hyped up about that, and that's fun. All right, so if anybody else has anything they're playing, feel free to let me know in there, and then of course we'll talk more about games and stuff on Saturday when we finish this kit or the set and start a model kit. Because I'm saying we're going to be starting a model kit after this because I don't have any Lego sets left in my backlog. So I can tell you right now we're not going to be. Let me just double check something real quick. We're not going to be doing any. Okay, all right. Nope, this is not right. I gotta look for. This one should have. Yeah, there it is. I need the Ferrari logo on here. I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, I don't have any Lego in my backlog. So the next thing I'm working on will definitely be a model kit. That's what I was trying to say. My backlog is fairly low. So if it'll probably be a kit that I've had for a while or a kit I just recently got. Nathan says, I also started replaying Breath of the Wild because I can't pick up the new one just yet. Totally understand. But if you want to be in that Zelda vibe, you can still get in that Zelda vibe, which is nice. We are definitely not going to finish this kit, but we won't, or this set, but we won't have to do much on Saturday. And then for Saturday, I'll tease you now. I don't think it's really that big of a tease, but I will have I'll have an update on my the gardening tomatoes. I'll get a tomato update on that because I think some cherry tomatoes might be close. Patios, I don't think so, but the cherry tomatoes, some of the cherry tomatoes might almost be ready. They might be done enough, but I'm going to take a look tomorrow because we had a lot of rain today, so it'll be good to take a look tomorrow and see that. And there's also a fiasco that involves a bird, and I will have more bird update. Probably for Saturday. It is not exactly like what's going on with Will Smith, but it is somewhat similar to what's going on with Will Smith. Last week, I have the Tears Collection Edition just sitting in my living room. Well, you can, play that when you want to play that. But all right, we're gonna put this here so I know this is where we're going. We're gonna fold this down so I know what's on this part. And we are going to wrap up our Lego build for the day. We got a lot of progress done on this set. We'll finish it up, of course, on Saturday, as mentioned. So if you want to come hang out on that, that'd be cool. And, of course, I'll have all these parts annulled and ready to go. I'm just going to go to this here. And then I'm just going to shove all these Lego pieces out of the way. And I will deal with that later. And we are going to wrap up tonight's stream. But we are not just going to log off and be done with it. We, of course, are going to end with a raid because we always end with a raid. We're going to go find somebody doing some cool shit and go hang out with them, pass the party along, because that's the right thing to do. Is go see who's doing some cool shit and go hang out with them. And, of course, I'll be back on Saturday for more shenanigans. Now is to see. I'm not super interested in raiding some Tears of the Kingdom streamers. I will, but it's not like exactly what I want to do. It is not my go-to. I'm looking to see how long some people have been streaming, because if it has been a while, I won't raid them. How long have you been streaming, my friend? 4 hours. No, you're almost done. We got to leave before they raid us because they've raided us before. Oh, no, they've been going for too long. How long have they been going? All right, we're not rating any of these people. I am making a bunch of executive decisions very fast. That some of these folks that I think are neat have been just rating so long that I'm not gonna go and join in on them right now. Damn, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're not rating Will Smith. Don't worry about it. I refuse. I love Will, but I refuse to watch just birds. We're not gonna do that. If Will was playing a video game, I would be totally in favor of hanging out with Will. But Will is not playing a video game. So what happened here? We got raided. It happens. The thing I was worried about happens. We didn't raid fast enough, and Jared raided us at the end of the stream. I literally was talking about this. Oh no. Welcome, Raiders. I'm Pat Baer. I literally said out loud, "Oh, he's been going for so long. We better raid before he comes to raid us," which is so kind to do that. Bring back the Lego. I mean, so we were working on a Lego set. Hi, Raiders. I'm Pat Baer. I build model kits and Lego sets and occasionally play video games and such. I've been working on this. We were basically done here, but I'm working on this cool Lego set. It's a Ferrari. This is all the progress we made tonight. We got a lot done on it. But we were planning on wrapping up the stream, and then a bunch of people showed up, which is very nice. I know that y'all were watching some old cartoon nonsense, and that's very fun. I'm in the process of trying to figure out who we should raid, and you can come along on that fun raid, and it'll be neat. Let's see. We gotta raid. We've got to raid. Thank you for the follow. If you like model kit building and Lego sets and talking about anime and video games with a nice, fun community, consider giving me a follow. Because that'll be nice. And I appreciate that. Thank you to Batman, Jesus, and Wildcard for the follows. I appreciate you. But we are also wrapping up. I'm not just going to keep going because we got raided, although I do very much appreciate it. God, who should we raid? Let's raid Surge. Surge Jaeger is still streaming. Surge rules. Surge is currently playing Hard Space Shipbreaker. And Surge is lovely, so we're going to go give Surge a raid. So feel free to come along on this raid. Again, apologies that I am immediately sending us on a raid after we got raided by Puppet Jared, but I gotta be done. I hope the stream was great. You're gonna really like Surge because he's lovely. He's got a great community. It's gonna be really fun. Let's go on that raid. Thank you all so much for being here. This is a weird way to end the stream, but that's how we're ending it. I'll be back on Saturday. I'll talk to you all soon. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.